Hey guys, Allison here. Well, today I want to talk about what to do when you feel powerless. Now, it's a horrible feeling, and none of us want to feel powerless, but often we find ourselves feeling that way. And I would think at the root of almost all depression and anxiety is a sense of powerlessness. All right, in depression, we're often feeling despair. We can't solve our problems. We kind of just start to sink down. And if you are experiencing depression to the point where you really can't function, please reach out to a Catholic therapist because there is help available. But even if we look at anxiety, anxiety is this kind of like free-floating fear that we can't really put our finger on. It's just always there. And it could be the cumulative effect of a lot of fears, a lot of overwhelm, a lot of busyness, and we have to really stop and kind of deal with it so we can understand where it's coming from. But often it's, again, we feel powerless against those things that we're fearful about. So maybe we're not even in conscious awareness of what we're fearing, but we just feel the anxiety. So we need to kind of break it down and get to where we're at with that. Now, for many people, a sense of powerlessness can be triggered because there was a situation in your past that was traumatic. Right? We would define trauma as something that is inescapable, outside of the normal range of human experience, and feels overwhelming. It overwhelms your ability to cope. So if you were a victim of a crime or abuse as a child or whatever, when something, gets triggered that's similar to that, you might find yourself feeling powerless. And it might be over what looks like a small situation right now, but it's really triggering a deeper sense of powerlessness. Now, if that is the case for you, if you find you get triggered and you can't figure it out, that's when you want to reach out to a therapist and start exploring that. And know this, there are some great modalities now. We've got a great understanding of brain science, and there are really good modalities out there to help treat trauma, all right, by understanding how the brain works, how we encode memories, and how memories can kind of get impacted when there's a trauma. There are things that we can do to reprocess those memories and be able to be free of the emotional impact that they've had on us. Now, another reason we may feel powerlessness is just because we're so busy that we haven't had the time to break down whatever problem is before us that's making us feel powerless. Maybe it's financial, all right? Sometimes, you and your spouse may be working and both jobs, two jobs, and you're still not making ends meet, and you start to feel powerless. So we need to kind of look and say, okay, what is really going on here? We need to take the time, and this is where, again, a therapist or even a good life coach can help you to kind of break it down, see what we can do, what it is within your power, because there's more that's in your power than you realize. So what I would suggest also is that we reframe the problem, all right? Whatever it is that's triggering this sense of powerlessness, reframe it as a challenge that you have yet to find a solution to, because there's always a solution. Now, there may be things that we can't solve on our own. For instance, let's say you're dealing with a family member who's using drugs and you've tried everything, but you just can't get through to them and you're very worried about it. That's where we have to really call on God and surrender to Him and just say, Lord, this is something I can't solve, but you are all powerful and you can solve it. So I am surrendering this to you. So it may feel like you're powerless, but once you tap into God's power and recognize that by surrendering it to Him, He's going to take over and He's going to find that solution for you. It's hard because we want to hold on to it and we still feel like we should be doing something. And sometimes there's not much we can do. Now, if you are dealing with somebody with addictions, getting into a good program like Al-Anon or NA, Narcotics Anonymous, can be really helpful because sometimes, the things that we're doing aren't working. We need to learn new skills and new ways of approaching something so that it starts to work, all right? But again, sometimes when the problems are really big, we surrender them to God first and foremost. Next thing, and this is important, take some action. Now, when you feel powerless, you can't maybe figure out what the action is. So maybe the action is reaching out for help. Maybe you're having relationship problems. Maybe an action would be getting a good book on relationships or communication that can start to help, can start the process. All right, so any action makes you feel like you have a little bit more power over this. It's not going to necessarily solve the whole problem, but it's a step in that direction. So as we think about taking steps, we need to set goals, and we need to set goals along the way. So if this is the end goal that I have, what are some plateaus along the way where I can say, okay, I feel like I'm making some progress now? And this is where a coach can help you to kind of break it down, set some realistic goals, and be able to, let's say you're trying to lose weight and you've tried everything. Now, maybe following a diet or following an exercise plan, you may not see results right away, but you're setting up new habits. And that can be super, super powerful. So again, when you're feeling powerless, recognize this. You probably are not fully powerless, right? There's probably more power that you have, maybe not to solve the whole problem, but to take steps to start moving in that direction. I hope you find this helpful. Again, if you're struggling with anxiety and depression, you really feel kind of stuck at this point, this stuff being triggered from the past, reach out to a therapist, because God wants you to be free. All right, the God who is all powerful, he wants you to be free and to have a healthy sense of control over your own life. It doesn't make you a control freak. We all have to have a control over our own safety, both bodily and emotionally and spiritually. So it's really, really important. If it doesn't rise to the level of depression or anxiety, or something's really causing kind of a dysfunction for you, but like you're not really figuring out how to solve things, you feel like you're not making progress, reach out to a Catholic life coach. The links are both below this video. While you're there, please like and share the video so more people can see it and get the help that they need. Hope you find that helpful. God bless you.